Okay, so we checked our quizzes, and we are now going to look at angle relationships with algebra. So let's take a look at this sheet. It says Notes, Parallel Lines with Algebra. And let's look at number 1. So we need to be able to do a couple things in these notes. The last 2 days we've been talking about identifying angle relationships and even finding missing angles. And now we're adding some algebra to it. So look at number 1. It says that BD and EG are parallel, so these are parallel lines. And they are cut by this line. What do we call this line right here? Transversal. So I like to label that with a T. Oops. All right. So label it with a T. And let's see here. We're trying to find the angle pair name. So look at these two angles. Are they inside or outside of the parallel lines? Or is one in and one out? So they're actually both outside. So yeah, outside. And are they on the same side or alternate sides of this transversal? Alternate, right? So we would call that alternate exterior. You may abbreviate. Now, do we remember what alternate exterior are? Are they congruent or supplementary? Okay, alternate exterior and also alternate interior, both alternates are congruent. So maybe you can remember because they're A-OK. And A is closer to C than S. All right. So alternates are congruent. Here's another way you can tell. Do y'all remember the kind of the zigzag trick I showed y'all? The zigzags are all the same, and guess what? 80 and 5x plus 10 are all on the same zigzag. So, yep, those are congruent. How do you know what x is? No. It's not 5x equals 10. It's 5x plus 10. So I'll show you what I mean. So if we know they're congruent, and I'm talking about both angles, what do we do with congruent things? Do we set them equal, or do we add them up to 180? So the answer is we set them equal. So congruent means they're equal in their measurement. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take 5x plus 10 equals 80. So notice this arrow that I drew right here. Congruent means you put an equal sign between them, for sure, okay? Now we solve it, okay? Now this is a two-step problem. Should be old news. What do I do first? Get rid of the loner, the 10. How do I get rid of it? The opposite is to subtract, so minus 10 and minus 10. So I'm going to end up getting 5x equals 70. And then to get rid of that coefficient 5, I'm going to divide by 5 on both sides. So 70 divided by 5 is 14. Now that gets me one thing I'm looking for. That gives me the x. Okay? But remember, we're looking for more than just the x when we do these. Well, let's fill that in. X equals 14. Cool. I am actually looking for EFH. So look up here. EFH is 5x plus 10. So what I can do is I'm going to write 5x plus 10 in a different color. And if I know x equals 14, I'm going to replace that x with 14. Substitution. Okay? So 5 times 14, in parentheses, plus 10. So what is 5 times 14? 70 plus 10 gives me 80. So I'll write that in right here. Now, that should make perfect sense with our picture, or the image up here. We knew this one was 80, And this is supposed to be congruent, so it makes sense that it's also 80, right? They have to be the same. So there's the bottom again, if you need it for a second. And let's try number 2. Okay, number 2. So now notice this is rotated. Where's the transversal? It's going horizontally. This is line CF. There's a couple names to name it, but I'll put a T there for transversal, right? Now, those two labeled angles, are they interior, exterior, or one's in, one's out? What do you think? So interior, exterior, one in, one out. What do you think? Exterior, because it's outside the parallels. And if this is the transversal, it is same side or alternate of the transversal. Same side. So same side, exterior. You can abbreviate, that's fine. And we got the SS. So same sides are what again? Supplementary. Now, if you don't remember that, you could at least do the zigzag rule. Okay, remember, these are my zigzags. And do you see how this one is not part of the congruent zigzag? So that would mean it's not congruent. It's supplementary. Another way you can tell is by looking at this angle. This one looks acute. This one looks obtuse. They're not the same exact thing. They can't be congruent. Our other option in this situation is supplementary. So there's 3 ways to tell. You look at the name, you look at the zigzag, or you can just look at the types of angles. But what do we do when they're supplementary? Do I set them equal, or do I add them up to 180? Add them up to 180. So let's write these 2 angles, and we're going to put a plus sign between them. So 77 plus x plus 5 equals 180. And notice these 2 things that supplementary means. Add them, then you put the equal sign, 180. At this point, I look at my equation. I've got a lot of things on the left side. What should I do on the left side there? We are going to simplify by combining like terms. What are my like terms? Okay, they are my constants, my numbers, 77 and 5. So 77 plus 5 gives me 82. And I bring down plus x, and that equals 180. Okay, so everyone's getting this down on number 2. So again, if you have more than one term or more than 2 terms, you might want to try to combine first. Now, x is on the left side. We got to get rid of the loner. How do I get rid of that 82? Subtraction, and I get 98. Okay. So that's cool. I have my x value. X is 98. Now I need to find GFH. So I'm going to go back up, take a look at what is GFH. GFH is x plus 5. So let's write that down. And just like last time, all we got to do is replace x with whatever x is. So in this case, 98. So 98 plus 5 is 103 degrees. Okay. Questions so far in the first half? We've done 1 congruent and 1 supplementary. We'll do 2 more together, and then I'm going to let you practice, and you'll have 4 on your assignment to do. So here we go. Backside. All right, these angles, are they interior or exterior, or one in, one out? What do you think? What do y'all think over here? Are these interior, exterior, or both in and out? Here's my parallels. See how they're between them? What does that mean? No. Interior, exterior, or both. One in, one out. So they're both between, so that means they're interior. Okay, if they're between the parallel lines, if they're both between, that's interior. Okay? Right, sorry, these right here. Oh, okay, so, yeah, no, these two angles right here. So those are interior, and are they alternate or same side for this transversal? Alternate. So we're going to call it alternate interior angles. And just like number one, what do we know about alternate? Congruent. You can see it on the zigzaggy that they're all the same. So those got to be congruent. What do I do with congruent things again? Set them equal, right? So that's what I'm going to do. Is everyone following along? New stuff, right? Got to stay focused. So 3x plus 24 equals 2x plus 50. Remember, equal sign when they're congruent. Okay? Writing this down. So, we got to be able to solve when x is on both sides of the equation. Now, when x is on both sides of the equation, do you combine them or do you get rid of one? What do you think? Okay, when it's on both sides, that's when you get rid of one, the smaller one. Okay? So which x is smaller? 2x. How do I get rid of a 2x? Minus 2x, minus 2x. So 3x minus 2x, 1x, which is just x. And then you can bring down 24 and then equals 50. Yeah, and then last step, to get rid of the 24, we subtract 24 and we get what? 26. And we're looking for EFC, which is 2x plus 50. So 2x plus 50, replacing x with 26. 2 times 26 is 52. 52 plus 50 is 102. And that's what we get for EFC, 102 degrees. We're all getting the hang of this. If you can identify it, you can figure out if it's congruent or supplementary. You can set up the equation correctly and then solve. Let me warn y'all, okay, you want to make sure you're setting it up correctly, because that's a whole lot of work to do, and then to realize you did it wrong at the very beginning. So, have a seat, please. Raise your hand if you have a question. Cool. Let's do number 4. So, what are these two angles called? So on number 4, these two angles, are they interior or exterior? Interior. And are they same side or alternate? Same side. Okay, very good. Same side, interior. SS means supplementary. And if those are my zigzags, they're not on the same zigzag. So yeah, that's another way to tell that they're not congruent. So this time we add them, equal sign 180. Remember, that's what we're looking for supplementary. And then we do what at this point? Combine like terms. Okay, so 2z plus 4z, negative 4 minus 21, negative 25. Get rid of the loner. And then you divide. Now this one's super fun because it gives you a decimal, so let me help you out here. You get 34.16 repeating, so we're going to round. And then you got to plug that into BCF, which is 2z minus 4, you end up getting 64.33 degrees. So, yeah. That one takes a little bit extra calculator work, so I'm helping you out on that one. So you're going to use those examples to help you do your 4 on the assignment. So again, make sure you've got the right angle pair. If you're not sure about angle pairs, you should kind of take a look at the notes from 2 days ago when we did notes on angle pairs, right? That would be cool. Make sure you set it up correctly so you don't do a whole bunch of work for nothing. So, all right, let's do it.